loud as you can. 1, 2, 3. Hello! Everybody say hello. Everybody say hello. Everybody say hello. How are you today? One more. Hello, everyone. Hello. And shoulders, knees and toes. Knees and toes. Head and shoulders, knees and toes. Knees and toes. Eyes and ears and mouth and nose. Head and shoulders, knees and toes. Knees and toes. And we're gonna get fast. You guys ready to get fast? 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, go! Head and shoulders, knees and toes, knees and toes. Head and shoulders, knees and toes, knees and toes. Eyes and ears and mouth and nose. Head and shoulders, knees and toes, knees and toes. Can we go faster? Chris, can you go faster?
I'll try.
You try? I don't know, Chris. This poor guy. I don't know that he can do this. You ready? Off come the sunglasses. Here we go. Set your head on your marks. Get set. Go! Head and toes, toes, toes. Head and toes, toes, toes. Eyes and ears and mouth and nose. Head and toes, toes, knees and toes. Good job. I'm impressed, Chris. You did it. I'm impressed. Okay. We are so happy to not have any rain today. I know. It's been a long time. But we're going to sing a song about the rain. We're going to sing a song about the rain. And the only reason we're going to sing it is because we're going to use these bells. So if you have a bell, would you join us on stage today? Come on up if you have a bell. Hi. Come right up here. Hi, guys. Yeah, come all the way back here. Hello. Hi. Good job. Okay. So now we're going to put your bells in the air. Can you put them up high? Can you shake them for me? Let me hear all those bells. Yeah, we're going to pretend that is the rain, okay? That's the rain. Now, can you show me how to jump in the rain? What would you do to jump in the rain? Can you jump? Oh, my goodness. That's awesome. Good job. All right, now we're going to stand over here a little bit away from the cords. Come over here with me. Come over here with me. Everybody go on this side. Good job. I'm going to move this. Good. Now you're going to face all the grown-ups. Can you face all the grown-ups? All right, Chris, are you ready? Here we go. Put your instruments up high. Let's make it rain. On a rainy day, I look outside and I watch the rain fall down. Let me hear the rain go. It almost sounds like music as it just drops on the ground. And I
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to GoodGround Park and welcome to our inaugural concert for the summer series. I'd like to ask you if you'd all please join me in the pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated. Before we have the opportunity to enjoy the best of Broadway, there are a few folks that we would like to thank for making this evening possible. So I'm going to introduce the town supervisor, Mr. Schneiderman, so that he can proceed with recognizing some of the people that more than deserve recognition. Jay?
Thank you. Thank you. It's nice to see everybody. How about this beautiful park? It's incredible, right? Incredible. We're so happy to share it with the community of Hampton Bays and the whole East End community. Frank Sapone is a deputy supervisor. He has been living this park night and day for years now. starting when he was with Supervisor Throne Holtz and continuing through my administration, has done just an extraordinary job in helping make this happen. But of course, so many people have been involved with this. Let me start. First, I want to recognize other Southampton Town Board members who are here. Stan Glinka, we're right here in the front. And Julie Lofstad is here as well. John Bouvier could not be here tonight, and Christine could not be here either, Christine Scalera. We're also joined by some very important people. We have County Executive Ballone is here, a good friend, and certainly a good friend to Suffolk County and to the east end of Long Island. We also have State Park Commissioner Rose Harvey is here. State Assemblyman Fred Thiel, who's been a great friend of this park in the town of Southampton. Senator Laval could not be here today, but he certainly deserves a great deal of our gratitude in helping us build this park and securing money to build this park. Let's give a round of applause for Senator Laval, although he couldn't be here today. So just very brief background. I know other people will talk a little bit about the background of this park, but it's a 36-acre park. It was purchased in 2003 for $3.5 million. I think it was a pretty good deal for 36 acres. The state has committed $2 million in grants to make this happen. 2015 was when the construction began. We did kind of a sneak preview of this park. Some people may remember in October last year, we just opened it up for a community day. It was very successful. This amphitheater seats roughly 700 people and 1,000 if you include the lawn areas. Pretty special. You don't see a lot of facilities like this. We just recently built that toddler playground from roughly 2 to 5-year-old playground. We have another playground coming. We have a full comfort station coming to this facility. Right now we have a temporary bathroom facility that's there. There'll be trails. There'll be a bike trail and hiking trails that go right literally to the rear of me. Let's see. There'll also be a new entrance we're working on from here. There's currently the Vince Canuzio Trail. If you haven't walked the Vince Canuzio Trail, Vince is a former supervisor from the Hampton Bays area, loved Hampton Bays, the community loved Hampton Bays, and there's a great trail that goes from downtown right to this park. Please take advantage of it. But there'll be another walkway from Main Street all the way to here, pretty much in this, right in line with this amphitheater. And we have a number of community leaders who are here today. Marion Bowden is here. Kevin McDonald from the Nature Conservancy, but also from Hampton Bays, who has been involved with this park for quite some time. In fact, I was asking Kevin, like, when did this really start? Like, when did the idea start? It's at least 15 years old, maybe even longer than that, but I'll let Kevin tell that story. Lars Clemenson, this great superintendent of Hampton Bays Schools, is here. Lars is over here. I see Doc Capilano from the Hampton Bays Chamber of Commerce is here. I mentioned Frank Sapone earlier and all the work that he did. Kristen Doulos, who is our Parks Commissioner, not here tonight. I think there are a number of staff members from our Parks Department. Brian Borsfield, is he here? Somewhere. Brian, where are you? He's a Deputy Parks Director. I don't see a hand, but I know he's here somewhere. John Irwin, I think, from the Parks Department. He was here earlier. They did a great job, as well as Christine Fenton, our town engineer, very involved. A park like this doesn't happen by accident, right? Takes a lot of people. First, it starts with a dream, an idea. Then a community comes together. We've got to figure out how to put the pieces together. The money has to come into place. The engineering, the visioning. So many people made this park happen so that so many people could enjoy this park. And today is the beginning of the future of GoodGround Park. You know, GoodGround, you probably all know this, but GoodGround is really the original name for this Hampton Bays area. For this section of Hampton Bays was called GoodGround, and this is certainly a good piece of ground, right? And there's going to be a lot of joy that comes from this park. I've already watched the kids playing in the playground. They were getting their faces painted today, and I saw the adults trying to dance around a little bit. I think you're going to see a lot of that in the future. So without further ado, Frank, I'm turning it back to you.
Okay.
All right, to all of you, congratulations on your new park. It's a beautiful amphitheater. Enjoy it for years to come. Thank you.
Thank you, Jay. I'd like to ask if our State Assemblyman, Mr. Thiel, will come to the microphone and say a few words. Fred?
Thank you very much, and I appreciate the town inviting me to be here. It's nice to be joined by our County Executive, Steve Bellone, by our State Parks Commissioner, Rose Harvey, together with our town officials and local community leaders. I appreciate being invited to the inaugural concert for the season. I was told I could come as long as I didn't sing, and I'm going to stay true to that. But I just wanted to say congratulations to the town and all of those that were involved. If ever there was a partnership to make something happen, this was it. You know, from my perspective and from the perspective of Senator Laval, and I should point out that Senator Laval really wanted to be here tonight. He had a family obligation that took him out of town, but he wanted to express my my good wishes to all of you tonight. But you know, the two things that I see that you know, warm my heart. One is that when this property was acquired, it was acquired with money from the Community Preservation Fund. And when people think of the Community Preservation Fund, they often think of the environment, protecting farmland, protecting open spaces, things of that nature. But one of the key requirements, or one of the key parts of the community preservation, is parks and recreation. And that's why we're able to buy land such as this for parks and recreation purposes. And the other thing, you know, certainly is working with the town. You know, the state of New York has made a major commitment here, certainly through the Parks Department and Commissioner Harvey, but also through the state legislature with funds that came from Senator Laval and myself, from the governor. Governor Cuomo's Regional Economic Development Council also provided funds for this. And there's a reason for that. This is important to Hampton Bays, but this is a regionally significant project. This is a game changer for Hampton Bays. Not just the quality of life here, but its future economic future. And we were glad to be a part of it. I thank all of you for being here tonight. It's going to be a great night. And thank you. And I look forward to many, many beautiful nights here in this park. Thank you.
We're not going to ask Fred to sing, but we're going to ask him to stay on the stage for just a few more moments. Thank you.
Okay. You know, when I think of the Community Preservation Fund, not only do I think of all the things that Fred just mentioned about the open spaces, but I also think of Fred Thiel and people like Kevin McDonald and all the people who made that fund possible, who fought like hell so that we would have a program that would help save all the things that we love about our community. So I would like to present on behalf of the town of Southampton a gift to Assemblyman Thiel. This is from a grateful community to New York State Assemblyman Fred W. Thiel Jr. in recognition of your dedication to public service and your ongoing commitment to the Southampton community. This is for you, Fred. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have.
Thank you.
Take this.
Okay, yeah, so I don't break it. Thank you.
And thank you once again, Fred. Before I introduce the next speaker, I do want to take a moment not to forget to thank some very important people, some of whom are represented here tonight. Some of the concerts that are planned for the summer are being supported by the Hampton Bays Chamber of Commerce, and I see Dot in the audience here. The Chamber has been very, very supportive of this park, and as I said, they're helping support some of the concerts. We're also very pleased. I think I saw Lieutenant Kiernan in here somewhere from our Southampton Town Police Department. The Southampton Town Senior Officers Association is also co-sponsoring some of our programs during the summer. And the Hampton Bays Beautification Association has been very active in supporting the park and helping create a beautiful space and make it even more beautiful. So thanks to all of them. I'd like now to introduce our county executive, thank him personally for coming, Steve Bellone.
Thank you very much, Frank, and thank you for all your work. It's a pleasure to be here with my good friend, our supervisor, Jay Schneiderman. He's doing such a wonderful job, and it's really just a great pleasure to be here at the opening of this park, which I think ultimately we will look back on as a really significant day in the history of this community and for our county as a whole. And I want to thank our great Assemblyman Fred Thiel for his leadership. Jay got it right in terms of the impact that the work he has done, and others as well. But Fred Thiel is a fighter for the things that matter, and this Community Preservation Fund, this is just one of the examples of the benefits that are happening because of your efforts, and I want to thank you for that, Assemblyman. To all my colleagues on the town board for your great work here, to the Chamber of Commerce, all the community organizations, and of course I want to thank State Parks. We have Governor Cuomo, I know, cares deeply about our parks, and you can start with the fact that he has chosen a really extraordinary Parks Commissioner in Rose Harvey. So thank you, Rose, for the great work you're doing all across this state and in Suffolk County as well. I just want to also recognize a great public servant in our region who doesn't get enough credit for all the things that he has done for us, including open space preservation. That's our former senator, former Brookhaven supervisor, and former county legislator, Brian Foley. Thank you, Brian, for all your wonderful work. And to Kevin and everyone that's been involved. Kevin does other things besides water quality, which is what I work with him every day on, but he's doing so many amazing things out there. This is an amazing day. I walked that trail from the downtown to the Vince Canuzio Trail. Is that right, Jay? I walked that trail. It is absolutely beautiful. This park and Assemblyman Thiel's characterization of it as a game changer is 100% accurate. This is what I would characterize as an extraordinary public space. And those spaces are critical to our quality of life and to our economy. They're particularly critical when they are adjacent to our downtowns, our traditional downtowns. And this downtown is particularly important in our region. The connection between this park and the energy, certainly with future phases, that will be created between the park and the downtown will help, I think, this downtown and this community achieve its highest hopes and ambitions for the community and for the downtown as a whole. And what that means for Suffolk County is great things. Our whole effort is based on working to build up our downtowns, make them more vibrant so we can bring young people back to our region so we can build out an innovation economy. And I will circle back to say this. Building great public spaces is key to that. After World War II, our country got away from really making great investments, significant investments in public spaces. Largely what we did is leave that to developers as the last thought, the last sort of thing you think about on a big development project. What this represents is you are turning the paradigm here and saying, no, we should be investing the most in our public spaces because it is where we gather together as a community. It doesn't matter your station in life. It doesn't matter how rich, how poor. We all come together as a community in these public spaces, and you have made a statement here with this public park, and I am proud of the work you have done and so excited for what it means for our future here in Hampton Bays and in Suffolk County. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful night tonight.
Thank you, County Executive. Key to great public spaces in any community are certainly great schools. And I want to publicly thank Lars Clemenson, who is in the audience tonight. At the moment, he has his hands full, so he may not be able to come to the podium to speak, but I want to thank him publicly and thank the Hampton Bays schools for all their support. Thank you, Lars. Now I'd like to introduce my friend Kevin McDonald. Both Kevin and I were much younger men when this process started. We still have hair. No offense, Dan. It's a slightly different color, but we're doing okay. Kevin, please.
Thank you, Frank. Thank you all for coming out tonight. This was 22 years in the making. And when Fred Thiel was the supervisor in the town of Southampton, there was a comprehensive planning meeting at the high school, Southampton Town High School auditorium. And at that meeting, after a bunch of people in the community talked about the future of the hamlet, the idea of a park that was the equivalent of New York Central Park to this hamlet should be built, and we should figure out a way to make that happen. Fast forward 5 more years, it's 2000, this property is coming in to be developed. The community, largely with the extraordinary leadership of Marion Bowden, then president of the Hampton Bays Civic Association, the Hampton Bays Beautification Association, folks from the school district, all said we can do better with the future of this park, and we have to talk about how that happens. 3 years later, the park gets acquired, and then the community, this is going to be shocking, couldn't agree on the type of park it wanted. So we argued, and we argued, and we argued. And then we had a recession, and nobody wanted to do the park again because it was too much aggravation. And then the supervisor then at the time, Anna Throne-Holst, Bridget Fleming, and most of the town board that you still know, said, let's do this one more time. And so they hired a really good park design firm from New York City that does really high quality park designs in the city. And we told them the story, we're really grumpy, this is taking too long. And they said, anything worthwhile at the scale you're looking to do this at takes 20 years. So we're sort of right on schedule. And that's only made possible because where's Marion's there, and Susan Von Freddy, and other leaders from the Hampton Bays Beautification Association, and John Zuccarelli and his wife, and others who were all involved in this. So this is your night. And the last part I'll tell you is after everybody heard that story, at one community meeting we were told, we want a world-class park. This is all of you saying this. We want a world-class park. We want it for every age and every season. We want, somewhere back there, will be a sleigh riding hill in the near future. Back this way are a bike trail and hiking trails. They'll all come back down to the main part of the park. We have more work to do, but every time we told this story, whether it was to the Parks Department, at the state level, Legislator Thiel, State Senator Ken Laval, folks in the governor's office, they were like, that's a really cool project you guys have. And it made it really easy to enlist support, and it's really hard to get the money. But, so what your message was, we want a world-class park, and we don't want to pay for it. So then we had to go find all this grant money that we're still pursuing. So at some point in time, we will be done, or the interest of folks will probably dissipate slightly. But with your continued support for the things I just described, we have a little bit more to go, and we'll need your support to make that happen. Enjoy your concert, enjoy this summer, and enjoy your park.
Kevin, thank you very much. I'm going to ask Councilman Glinka if he would come to the microphone for just a moment, and Councilwoman Julie Lofstedt.
Wow, look at this crowd. Let's give everybody a round of applause. I mean, look what we have developed here in Hampton Bays tonight. If it wasn't for the collaborative effort of our elected officials and community leaders, we wouldn't be here this evening. And the key words that I heard were vision, teamwork, and perseverance tonight in everybody's comments. But there's one individual here tonight that really exemplifies all three of those adjectives, is Marion Bowden. Marion started coming out here in the early 50s with her family for vacationing. And in 1973 or 74, she bought her first house here in Hampton Bays with her husband, her late husband. And in 1991, she retired and made Hampton Bays her full-time residence. And from that moment on, Marion dove into the community and gave it her all. And she was a true leader that represented not only all of us here, but throughout the town, that we could actually benefit from where we are tonight. She is a woman of great perseverance, but she's also a woman of a great heart, and I can say that personally. Someone that does not forget anyone in the community. On a personal note, I lost my father 2 months ago. And in the middle of my father going through his terminal illness that happened very fast to my family, Marion texted me and said, "Does your father need Holy Communion? I will make arrangements." Out of everything that she does, she reached out to me to say, "Can I help you?" And that tells you the kind of person that Marion Bowden is for our community, someone that I'm proud to know. So tonight, myself, Councilwoman Lofsted, Supervisor Schneiderman would like to present Marion with a proclamation thanking her for her efforts and rewards of what we're benefiting tonight. And I know you asked me, we will come down there to present this proclamation. Oh, she's going to come up. Okay.
I said, I need a handle on
So with great pleasure, Marion, on behalf of the town board, the town supervisor, we'd like to present you with this proclamation tonight.
Thank you very much. Thank you. That was very touching. Very, very touching. Thank you. Thank you, Julie. Thank you very much. Thank you, Joe. Thank you. Thank you, Frank.
You want to say a word?
I do. Jay Schneiderman doesn't know me well. He just said, "Do you want to say a word?"
She has a couple of pages.
Can you hold this for me?
Yes, of course.
It's no more than 27 minutes or so, I promise. Well, thank you. And thank you. But before I begin, thanking you for the proclamation, it would be remiss of me not to remark about all this beauty surrounding us. Isn't this amazing? I dream big, I'll admit that. But even in my wildest dreams, I never pictured a park as beautiful as this. So first, I'd like to acknowledge some of the people who saw us through this and brought it to fruition. There were those supervisors and town board members, past and present, who cared about getting us this park. And there were people in the planning department, inspectors, others behind the scenes at Town Hall monitoring the project. There were residents who turned out at meetings. And on the construction side, there was a great team of designers, contractors, subcontractors, and workers. Standing here, I sensed that this park was built with pride for the work they were doing. And in my mind's eye, I see a father holding the hand of a young child here, maybe 50 years from now, saying, "Your grandfather was a carpenter who helped build this park." I think that's how proud we'll be. And of course, nothing gets done without financial support, and certainly we owe a huge debt of gratitude to the town, to the county, to the state for all their help. And I especially would like to thank the Roscoe family. I don't know if any of them are here. I did reach out and invite them. But Mr. Connie Roscoe, one fateful night in the year 2000, did call me, I didn't know him, and said, "I have 34 or so acres in downtown Hampton Bays. It's the last large plot left. I always thought it would be a good park, and I'd love to offer it to the town as a park. I mean, not free, but it was it was practically a giveaway. It really was. And anyway, the town at the time was not receptive. Mr. Roscoe held on. We begged him to hang on there. He died in the middle of it. We then had meetings, surreptitiously, with his family, begging them not to sell it to anybody else. And it took 3 long years, but we did do it. But my biggest thanks of all do go to Frank Zappone, our deputy supervisor, who has been the point man on this project from day one. He is a great blessing to this town. I never worked on a project ever, that wasn't as pleasant to work on, and I think I owe it all to Frank. Okay, now to the proclamation. It's an honor. It is truly an honor, and I'll be honest with you, I won't say, "Oh, shucks, I'm embarrassed," even though I am a little. But I'd like to say, wow, this has really made me happy. What a thrill this is. It really is, truly is a thrill. I certainly didn't get involved with civic and other activities because I'd win a proclamation or get an award or something like that. But it's only human to feel good when someone recognizes you for the work that you've done. It's also sheer folly and vanity to think that I made it on my own. I was blessed with parents who taught me a lot about ethics and morality. I went to Catholic schools that impressed upon me my responsibility to serve others. And I was a Brooklyn Dodgers fan. What a learning experience that was. I learned early that sometimes power corrupts. I learned that from the kids who were diehard Yankee fans who rubbed our noses in it every World Series as we suffered defeats year after agonizing year. I truly believe that if you grew up rooting for the Brooklyn Dodgers, you learned very early in life to root for the underdog. Being a Dodger fan also taught me about the euphoria that comes with success after years of struggle. It also taught me that sometimes things don't end well. When the Dodgers finally won the World Series and then left Brooklyn for greener pastures, it broke my heart. But that also taught me a lesson. You can move on. And so I became a Mets fan. But that's another story and another lesson in the ball game of life. We'll get to that another time. To stick with the sports metaphor, you don't win ball games without a great team. And since this is a happy day, I really don't want to go into the gory details, but when it came to the very difficult and contentious 3-year struggle to acquire the parkland, the Hampton Bay Civic Association board was a great team, wise, persistent, and gritty. Its support was invaluable. To single out 2 members, let me call them MVPs just to stay with the theme, I must mention Kevin McDonald. He's been mentioned about 100 times already, I think, today, who has always kept his wits about him, and as a land use expert, always knew what steps we could take. At the other end, we had Mary Jean Green, who was a pit bull, more emotional, who would dig in her heels and never, ever allow you to give in or give up. And so we had both Kevin and Mary Jean on our side, along with the Angels, I think. But on a very personal level, there was my co-captain, my husband, Vinny. He was always there, always. How many people are fortunate enough to have someone who cooks dinner while you finish writing the agenda, and before you leave the house, not only give you a kiss, but also a blessing? How lucky I was. And so I stand here today, surrounded by this invisible cloud of teachers, helpers, fellow dreamers, supporters, and how fitting that we're on a stage. Because I'd like to quote a few lines from Shakespeare. I'll edit it slightly. All the world's a stage, and all the men and women are merely players. They have their exits and their entrances, and one person in her time plays many parts. Today, I got to play a leading role, and I thank you for this recognition. But let me step aside now and let GoodGround Park steal the show. And what a magnificent show it is. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, a beautiful flowers. Thank you very much.
To our pal, Marion Bowden, on behalf of the Hampton Bay Civic Association, we truly know how dogged and determined Marion is, and we thank her from the bottom of our heart.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Now I just need to put it first.
Want me to hold those
Yeah.
for you?
Thank you, Marion.
I won't be skateboarding here.
No. I do see that there's some of our local clergy in the audience, and I would like to suggest that after Marion's telling the story about years of being a Dodger fan and then a Mets fan, I think she's done enough penance, Father, so cut her some slack, okay? Thank you. I'd like to finally introduce our New York State Commissioner of Parks. I'd like to introduce our New York State Commissioner of Parks, Miss Rose Harvey.
It's wonderful to be here. Actually, I'm a stand-in. Governor Cuomo really wanted to be here tonight and actually called yesterday to say that he wasn't going to be able to make it. And it's a hard act to follow when you hear about Marion and all of you and everything that you did to create this amazing park. And it really is incredible. And I will not say all the names, but indeed it's a town, it's a county, it's community folks, it's not-for-profits, it's the town board, it's Frank, it's everybody together, and all of you, which it sounds like you all had ideas of what this is going to be, and I can tell you it is spectacular. And I'm also glad that you're right on time 20 years later. That's good too. Governor Cuomo is a very, very serious environmentalist and a huge believer in parks, and not just our state parks, which he has contributed mightily, which have never had any dollars for a long time, but it's also about giving to community so that you can create your own parks, and from the ground up, they will be better because they will meet your needs. And he, when he came into office, pledged the Environmental Protection Fund, which is the source of many of the local grants, where he was going to safeguard all of our natural resources. He was going to safeguard them, take care of them, and strengthen them, and strengthen the great New York outdoors and the lands and the ocean and the coast and the forest. And so he took that to historic levels of $300 million a year, and it has gone on. And I'm very, very happy that that too is a source of only just one source of many of the local sources of dollars that go forward. And when I think about the forest, I've traveled with him quite a bit. And, New York State, starting right here with our forests, with our incredible Atlantic coastline, with the Finger Lakes, the Great Lakes, the Adirondacks, the wilderness. The governor always says this, so I'm going to say it for him because I know he would have said it. But we need to remember, it's a Native American proverb, that we do not inherit the earth from our ancestors, but we borrow it from our children. And that's in each and every park that we create, we're doing it. So it's a great honor to be part of this. I actually thought we gave $1.4 million, but I hear today that $2 million, and again, it was a partnership with the state legislators, but the state gave $2 million. I think the difference may be the new grant that you're going to come in for, and we would really be happy to contribute to that. So, and the design, the amphitheater, all of this here, we all contribute, but I guess Steve said it well. It's also, I know you're going to do a gateway and this trail that connects to the parks. Parks and the economy and downtowns, they are totally a symbiotic relationship. Parks are a mighty, mighty catalyst for the local economy. Good parks are a good economy. Good parks are good health. Good parks are very, very good spirit, a good happiness quotient. And good parks are good community, both in the process of creating them and now in the process of using them, because you're going to build mind, muscles, teammates, family, friends, and community. So all I can say is it's a great honor to be part of this and watch all of what you all have done. And I hope we'll always be contributing to local parks here. Thanks.
Thank you, Rose. Now, I'd like to ask you, thank everyone for coming tonight, and congratulations to everyone, and we appreciate all the support that you've provided to the community and to experience this evening.